Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And yeah, so yeah, here we are. We're back.
I mean, She-Hulk, Disney Plus, new show. Pretty awesome. We've covered previously on Total Recall, WandaVision, Mandalorian.
Right. She-Hulk, I heard about it. I was a fan of like the comics that it's based on. Like there's like She-Hulk, it was a like a Stan Lee creation in the 70s with John Buscema. It was Stan Lee and John Buscema, and it was basically like, okay, I don't know if CBS said we're about to make a female Hulk, or if Marvel just thought, what if the $6 million man has the Bionic Woman?
Yeah.
What if they do the same thing with the Hulk TV show, and make a Hulk woman? So the story is to kind of get the jump on that and make sure that like Marvel owns that. They were gonna, Stan Lee wanted to like get the trademark, get the copyright down, so that like CBS doesn't own, Hulk Woman, or CBS doesn't co-own it, like whatever their deal was. Stan Lee just wrote like the first issue, and then he was out because it was just like let's stake our claim, and then sort of handed it off to others. And I haven't read like anything beyond that first issue of the original series. And then there was like another series, a new She-Hulk series in the 80s by John Byrne. And it kind of has a lot of like the fourth wall stuff that's in the show, like her
like
talking to the camera and stuff. And I don't think I've ever read any of that. Like She-Hulk shows up in John Byrne's Fantastic Four run, so I've read some of that, but I don't think I've ever read any of the 80s She-Hulk. But then, like, I think it was like the late 90s or early 2000s, Dan Slott did a She-Hulk series, which is like really close to what this show is. Wow. And I enjoyed that a lot. It came out at a time when, like superhero comics were super serious, and it had the tone of this show where it's like, it was lighter, it was funny, it was very like knowledgeable of the history of Marvel, but spoofing it, the Mad Thinker's awesome android becomes an intern at the law firm, and
awesome.
they call him Awesome Andy for short.
That's great. I first heard about She-Hulk from the Marvel cards.
Okay, yeah.
And I just like read the back, and like that's where I learned she got a blood transfusion.
Right.
And I was like, oh my god, that's what I always thought that like I was like, how could someone else get? I was like, I want to be the Hulk, but how do I do it?
Well, they like doubled down on that in the second Hulk movie. In the Edward Norton Hulk, a drop of his blood gets in like some green soda, in some like Mountain Dew at like a bottling plant, and then Stan Lee drinks it, and then he like turns green and dies instantly. So like that kind of established that like Hulk's blood's got something in it. Just a little drop of it will give you something. So yeah. And in the comic, it's literally a blood transfusion. Like they get, I don't think it was a car accident. I think it was like a mob hit. I think she had some kind of like client or something that, somebody that was angry at her, and then like, did a drive-by or something. God. And then, there's just no time. It's a desperate situation. So Dr. Bruce Banner, who she calls Doc, that's like her nickname for him in the comic. He like takes her to like his apartment or whatever, and then just gives her like this quick like homemade transfusion. But in this, it's a little more organic. It's like she cuts her because like I
was wondering, and I'm like, okay, when's she gonna get the transfusion?
So she gets it, and the tone of this show is just like WandaVision was super serious, and like I understand all these things are gonna have different tones, and it's a really nice position to be in. To be the one that's like not the serious one, the one that kind of goofs on everything else.
So relaxed.
Yeah, and it's natural, and it has a good balance because it does have the superhero stakes. And I was surprised to like I didn't know anything about this show, just like there's a She-Hulk show. So seeing like how much Mark Ruffalo is a part of it was like it's like it's like a sequel to like the Hulk movies and the Avengers, like. That's a pretty big thing, It
definitely is. I miss Mark Ruffalo in my life, too. Mm-hmm. I don't see him in much.
Don't see him enough. And yeah, like, this show, like, if my wife is going to watch a Marvel show, This one has a pretty good chance because it's got Mark Ruffalo in it and Mark Linn-Baker from
About to say,
Cousin Larry.
What a
Perfect Stranger.
Fucking treat! When I saw Mark Linn-Baker,
Yeah.
I thought like that was like I like blew my stack. By the way,
Right.
I was like, I'm like, oh my god, Mark Linn-Baker's part of the Marvel universe now.
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He's canon. He's canon. And, the Hulk's uncle.
That's
he's
awesome.
She-Hulk's dad, Hulk's uncle. That's pretty.
Larry Appleton. Oh god, just get Bronson Pinchot on his.
I mean, I think it's kind of. Of course, everybody would love that, and we'd be real excited to see that. But I think there's like a dignity to being like, look, that was 40 years ago, and I've moved on. I'm proud of that show, but I'm an actor. I'm not.
His show follows him around. Like it's Kevin Feige. It's like wants to bring in Valky, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?"
You know what the irony is? Mark Linn-Baker now doesn't have to go to Comic-Cons anymore because he's got that.
That's
ironically
awesome.
the Hulk. The Hulk got him out of the Comic-Con circuit of selling his autograph or whatever.
Shit, I would have loved to have seen him at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, I don't know that he's been. I assume I assume if you look at these Steel City Con, these sort of Pittsburgh cons that are every month. I'm guessing Mark Linn-Baker's.
Oh, that would have been
and
great.
he's probably once this show hit, and now he's kind of back in the saddle. It's probably Mark Linn-Baker regrets to inform you that he's canceled his appearance.
I start crying. Mark Linn-Baker, so great. Looks still good.
I think you up until this show came out, I think you could meet Mark Linn-Baker and Bronson Pinchot at Comic-Con and get a 2-for-1 deal on a picture with them.
Oh my god! Or it's there's that wrestler Virgil.
Yeah, I know Virgil. Yeah,
he's out there he's signing autographs by himself, but he has it's Virgil and the $6 Million Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, but his ploy is the $6 Million Man has just got up to use the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
He's he'll be back any second. That's that with he's Mark Linn-Baker's Balky just went to use the shitter. He'll be back any minute now.
This movie, this show, humor. You take a chance with humor because if it's not working, it's just not working. But it works and it kind of gets you through it. And I loved all the Hulk movies. The Eric Bana one, the Edward Norton one, and I was kind of bummed when they stopped making them, and then when they when the Hulk becomes a big part of the extended Marvel universe when he's in the Avengers movies and stuff. It was so and Mark Ruffalo is really really
great.
good. So it's to keep that thread going. I mean,
it's incredible. And you know what this felt like too? It had the feeling of a Fox show from the 90s.
That's interesting. Yeah, a Briscoe County
Jr. or Herman's Head.
Yeah.
Or there's the spiking of the camera.
Parker Lewis can't
lose. Ally McBeal kind of a Fox.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, Ally McBeal is probably. I think there's even a scene where they're in a bar and Ally McBeal's on the TV or something.
What? I didn't even. Holy shit!
But I think that's exactly that's probably when you're selling these shows and trying to figure it out. You try to find those starting points of what can we compare this to, and it's Ally McBeal had all that fourth wall kind of stuff, and I'm pretty much certain that when Dan Slott made his She-Hulk comic, it was probably the same because Ally McBeal was a current show when that came out, so it probably was hey, we'll do we got this character who's a lawyer in the continuity. Let's do an Ally McBeal with her.
Incredible, and and yet you're right with Parker Lewis can't lose Herman's Head. It's the gimmick thing with you're a Hulk in a law firm. It's feels like it'll be on Fox.
No, you're right, and I can kind of picture the low budget, the sort of 90s
low budget
TV version of it. Yeah, and with with Mark Ruffalo 20 years younger or something.
Sort of the look of something we'll talk about later. Gordy's Home. Yeah, you can see the cheaper version of this. That would be it's Fox Thursday night lineup.
Were you excited to see them pick up on threads from the old Hulk, what's his name, Tim Roth show up?
Yeah, oh my god, I love that. And everyone's having a blast. Like Abomination, what a great creature.
Yeah, Abomination's like one of my favorite, villains and stuff. And just I think Gil Kane designed him. It's like he's like, the evil Hulk or whatever. So got a great visual and they kind of look good together. And he got a little bit of short shrift in the movies. Like in that second Hulk movie, he kind of looks a little generic. He doesn't look like he does in the comic. And then
looks mermanish.
Yeah, and then in Shang-Chi, he shows up, but he's like a jobber or whatever. Like he goes down quick.
Pin and pay him.
Yeah, pin and pay him. And they work that into the story too. And it does seem to me like they kind of had that as a starting. It wasn't like, oh, we got this big plan of this and that. It's like, okay, he kind of showed up in that. How do we explain that? And it throws a curveball into the storyline.
And then I loved. I don't know if you got to the part yet where he's like at his like retreat.
Yeah, the retreat. Yeah, that's the last episode I watched. Was like he's got this like healing retreat with like a sweat lodge. There's a lot of like funny jokes. Like as she's encountering Bruce Banner, like they're in the car and they're kind of having banter, and it's really good. It's really natural. They seem like it seems like a brother and sister. Like they're cousins, but it seems like a brother and sister. Like they joke around with each other. And
was Hulk in the comics? Was there smart Hulk in the comic?
There's been like every imaginable kind of Hulk, like really from the beginning, like the whole and that sort of like grunting, growling Hulk that doesn't talk originated pretty much with the TV show. Like maybe there was like an issue or two where like he doesn't say anything, but in the comics he would say Hulk smash and he'd talk, but there was like a specific decision for the TV show that like Hulk's just going to be this rampaging monster that's completely irrational, like he doesn't talk. They were originally going to have Richard Kiel play the Hulk.
No shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean he was the go-to guy and a big star and stuff, but he just didn't look the part.
No.
Like, it just wasn't like you needed somebody who was maybe like wider,
Yeah, Richard Kiel. Yeah, he's like, yeah, that would have been weird.
Like this sort of like Jolly Green Giant, like literally, like. Did you watch like through to this like post-credit scene in the first episode?
Oh yeah,
where she's got a theory that Captain America, or that she has a theory that Captain America is a virgin. And here's her, like, okay, here's why, because he does this, he goes here, and then Mark Ruffalo tells like, yeah, he lost his like he had sex once, on a USO tour, and then she's like, Captain America fucks, and it gets cut off right at the end.
Captain America. It's like spreading his seed for
right, Johnny Appleseed.
He's like Captain America's on John Denver's level.
Like just like that first episode with her and the Hulk, it's like just like with expectations and stuff, because it's like the Hulk is like out of all the movies, like the Hulk is like the most serious. Like those first two Hulk movies really set a tone. Like the Hulk is doomed and stuff. Like for all the all the turmoil that like Spider-Man has or whatever, he still has a ton of fun too in the course of it. But the Hulk is like this relentless downer and stuff. And then and that was even like the Bill Bixby show. It was like so like sort of I guess like schmaltzy or like it worked, but it was so like, oh man, this guy's life sucks and stuff. So that's part of the Hulk. So to kind of have this like have his cousin be sort of this like sunshiny
in
kind
the
of like
fun,
super funny, and then kind of address that within the show of
awesome.
Like you're such a this thing was such a source of negativity in your life, and it took you like 20 years to like get over it, and I'm just kind of right off the bat, like having a great time.
And the music choices I like the pop music, it like pumps me up.
Yeah, good music, and like the end credits with like the drawings and stuff. The end credits are really fun, and like I've been watching them just because the first few episodes have these like little stingers at the end.
Yeah.
But some of the episodes don't. But it's still kind of you get some. There's like some new drawings mixed in with
Oh, I love
with
it.
all the end credits
and it's nice to see too. Like I like when shows have a musical guest like on the show. It kind of like freezes it into that time. So this show has Megan Thee Stallion,
right?
And I was thinking about like Menudo on Different Strokes.
Yeah. I was thinking about. I was listening to a Menudo song recently because I was checking out Rubik and his amazing cube.
Oh,
you ever
shit,
see that cartoon?
no.
I mean, it was a cartoon about a little Rubik's cube that was alive. It was like a little elf. It has this like little blue elf face and stuff. And he has like a bunch of kids who are like friends with him, and he has magic powers. But if he gets scrambled up, he loses his magic powers. But then like the kids pick him up and they solve him like super fast, and then he's back in action. But that's his kryptonite, is if he gets like scrambled up. And I loved that show when I was a kid. I was always kind of amazed that these cartoon kids could solve them so fast. But they're not going to sit there like for 20 minutes.
I was the jabroni that like would take the stickers.
Yeah,
off.
I did that too. And eventually I took the stickers off, rearranged them, and my dad thought I was a genius. For like maybe an hour until I told him that I did it. And he was like calling all his friends and stuff, and
that's awesome.
He was like real embarrassed when I told him that I should have just let him keep thinking. But they eventually fixed that with the Rubik's Cube. You couldn't take the stickers off
of it.
And but yeah, I was watching Rubik and his amazing cube.
Gotta watch that.
Yeah, and it's hard to find. Like you can't get it on like DVD or streaming or anything. They just have like really bad YouTube like that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was kind of a nostalgia thing, and I was kind of thinking of like, man, I could do like a really cool comics adaptation of Rubik and his amazing cube. I thought maybe Hasbro held the rights, but then I looked at it's Spin Masters, the creators of Bakugan and Paw Patrol.
They have the rights.
They have the rights, what? So it might be a little complicated because I'd have to, whoever has Ruby Spears, so it's probably not going to happen. But I kind of, at least for a little bit, toyed with this idea of a Rubik and his amazing cube.
Dude, oh man.
But yeah, you mentioned Menudos, because they sing the song. It's Rubik, he's our friend. Rubik, my name is Rubik.
I just remember from that episode, like they came out on the train at the house. They were like all the members were like riding on the train.
Okay, and what show was it?
Different Strokes.
Different Strokes. Yeah.
I could
was Ricky Martin one of it?
I think
it was
so.
like the Ricky Martin era of
or I could have just been on ayahuasca at the time. Like that's so funny. Like the toy, the moment it gets its cartoon, awesome. Yeah. Somebody should do it's like Jimmy and His Pet Rock, the show, or whatever. Just a great show. Cast is awesome. I like the tone of it.
And look, there he is, Mark Linn-Baker.
Oh, Mark
it only took me like a second.
Me too.
And then it was like, that's him. And I'm like, what if it's not? What if I tell my wife, hey, Mark Linn-Baker's in this, and then she's like, that's not Mark Linn-Baker, but that's the guy.
It's like, yeah, we got all these blockbuster movies coming out, this, that, and the other. My biggest entertainment pop recently in the last couple months was seeing Mark Linn-Baker back on the screen.
Yeah, there's some people that was Quentin Tarantino with John Travolta. It's like there's some people that the audience loves. And the business that maybe doesn't know that and the audience is so happy to see. Now, when She-Hulk goes home and is visiting her family, we notice Mark Linn-Baker and flipped out, but there's a bunch of family members there. I wonder if there's one family member for every generation to get excited about. So maybe there's Zach and Cody's Sweet Life is her brother or something. I don't know who these other actors are. Or the one of the older ones is maybe from the Patty Duke show or something.
Somebody's from Soap or something.
It's interesting. She has curly hair when she's Jen. When she's She-Hulk, it straightens. During the John Byrne era, it was the 80s, the big hair era, and she had curly hair. So that's an interesting choice with the CGI to straighten somebody's hair when they turn into the Hulk.
Interesting. It'd be weird. You're right with the '80s hair. Mark Ruffalo, when he turns into the Hulk, he gets his boyfriend's hair from Family Ties.
I wonder if curly '80s hair is harder to animate. Maybe there's a lot of vectors to it.
We've got there's a whole division. It's we have all our best guys working on it. They're burning the midnight oil.
Yeah, Mark Linn-Baker with the mustache. It's work. It's works. One mustache guy to another. It's my hat's off to you, Mark.
He's still got light mullet working.
Yeah, I mean he might have been harder to spot. If he didn't. the mullet.
Pin the stash on the baker.
Okay, so this has been the Total Recall show talking about She-Hulk. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
This month, it's October, but it's also Jacktober. On Twitter and on Instagram, on my Patreon, Jacktober prompts. Every day of the month of October, there's a different Jack Kirby-related drawing prompt. So if you want to join in with that, follow along, use the Jacktober hashtag. You can @ Tom Scioli on Twitter if you want me to see them. Go to Patreon and search Tom Scioli to check out the comics and drawings and things I've been doing on there.
Yeah, Jacktober, we love it.
Celebrating the life and art of Jack Kirby. So anyway,
you can follow me on Instagram at cinema_tomb.
And we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Hulk heads.
So yeah, keep hulking it up, Hulk heads. Hulkamania is running wild. If you want to grab that. Yeah, we got a special. We got a special guest. We got a special
guest here.
For our Hulk, our She-Hulk episode. Is he Hulk?
You said we were doing a Hulk episode, so this is what I thought. And Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, like we got this. Like, there's this plush Hulk,
yeah.
And then there's a Bubba the Love Sponge. It's like a literal sponge shaped like Bubba the Love Sponge, and Mrs. Bubba the Love Sponge.